as we stay in the region now. The Israeli military has announced today that it targeted an energy infrastructure site south of Yemen's capital, Sanaa, which was reportedly used by Iran-aligned Houthi rebels. Israeli media identified the Haziz Power Station as the site struck. The military stated the attack was in retaliation for repeated Houthi missile and drone assaults on Israel. Al Masirah television, controlled by the Houthis, has called the strike an aggression, claiming it damaged some generators at the power station. Although the source of the attack was not confirmed, local reports mentioned hearing at least 2 explosions in Sanaa. Firefighters reportedly managed to control the blaze caused by the strike. Israel's bombing campaign in Yemen follows Houthi missile attacks aimed at Israeli targets, largely intercepted. The Houthis claim these actions are in support of Palestinians during the Gaza war. The US and UK have also previously targeted Houthi positions, while a May deal between the US and Houthis saw a pause in bombing campaigns in exchange for an end to Houthi attacks on Red Sea shipping. However, the Houthis have maintained that the deal does not include an agreement to spare Israel. Now we go back to our guest discussion with Mark Sutherland. He's a geopolitical commentator, joins us live from London. Thank you, Mark, for staying with us. Now, this Israel's retaliation actions in Yemen further complicate its relations with other regional players, particularly in terms of its stance on Iran and the ongoing conflict with Palestinian groups, while it wants to join the Abraham Accords now.
Well, we always have to bear in mind that the Houthis are an arm of the Iran ring of fire. Plus, also the Houthis have been threatening to disrupt. They have done shipping in that region as well, and as you pointed out in that report, they have fired on to Israel a number of times, including rockets into Ben Gurion, and they are not going airport around that area. They are not going to take this line down. I think my own understanding of this is that this looks like the second sort of infrastructure attack, being the one in June, which was on the harbour front there in Houthis, and we are talking a number of kilometers away, to say the least. So they have gone deeply out of their way to do that, to attack the infrastructure there. Again, as a warning, remember that the Houthis rebels have been firing rockets, and about the disruption that they'll then cause. And I underline this as the Israelis have dealt with Hamas. They've dealt with Hezbollah up north. They have then had a 12-day war with Iran, and then there is a tension in regard to dealing with the rest of Gaza City, as we just talked about. They then have to deal with the Houthis, who have been continuing to disrupt Israel and disrupt shipping in that area. Asuma.
And Mark, now Israel's recent strike on Yemen's Haziz Power Station, is this retaliation for Houthi missile attacks raises questions about the broader regional conflict. So how does this escalation between Israel and the Houthi rebels fit into the larger geopolitical dynamics of current Middle East?
Well, I think, to be fair, we have to say that Israel did not start firing on the Houthis by any stretch of the imagination first. The Houthis did that. They are part of the ring of fire in regard to Iran, where it has then financed, armed their proxies, which Houthis are part of, to surround Israel. Yes. We then had the awful situation in the south of Syria with the Jews, with the Alawites also attacking Christians as well. And you're very aware that Israel then went and bombed various targets in Syria and in Damascus as a warning shot, and also to stand up for the Druze community there. There's also a very strong Druze community in Israel, and there is a relationship. And as I say, the Druze actually also participate in the IDF. how this disrupts things. We've seen a 12-day war. We've seen so many changes in regard to dealing with Hezbollah. We look at what's happening in Lebanon, where the Lebanon government are wanting this terrorist arm out of their country. So, Asima, they're not saying it very simply. There are a lot of changes that are going on. And the IDF, as was said, they said they will go into Gaza City to then get the job done. The job needs to be done there. You cannot have this terrorism on your border. I don't think any country would actually tolerate that whatsoever. Plus, they haven't started or asked for this war. They are then dealing with the other proxies, etc., around them. So we have to wait and see. I think one of the number one things, just finally, in that area, in understanding the Middle East, is that they respect a strong man. They respect strength, which is something that we in the West find very, very difficult to actually understand, and we need to get our head around how these things play out within the Middle East. Asuma.
And Mark, do you think there's still some things that international community can do to de-escalate tensions between them, so that it doesn't escalate further to, yes, the occasion you mentioned, that 12 days of war that took place earlier this year? Do you think there is any country in Middle East that can mediate between them?
Well, the thing is, we've got to remember that when we're looking at reports from Al Jazeera, we have to question that in regard to who finances Al Jazeera. Qatar. What does Qatar get up to in financing that, in financing then Hamas, having the leaders of Hamas that were recently living within it, while they're trying to broker peace deals, they're also financing terrorism and a particular media ideology. So we have to bear all of those things in mind, and the fact that President Trump turned around and said that Iran must not go full bore and have a nuclear weapon. So that within regard to Iran, maybe certain things there will have to then be readdressed in the future. Iran is not having a very pleasant time because it's having to deal with droughts and things naturally that it is having to face up to. So again, Asuma, there is a lot. The thing is about when people can mediate, are they mediating by being genuine, or behind their back are they then up to other things as well? And the other thing is, it's all very, the Arab countries have asked Hamas to say now you have to disarm, now you have to then leave Gaza. Is that because they actually see that the IDF is getting ready to actually then finish the job? As we've always said, straight from day one, Israel have made it very clear that the war would have stopped if the hostages were released straight away. They took 250 hostages on the 7th of October. We've seen how the deaths are. We've also seen how they've been released, and if they were released on the 8th of October, or even on the 7th of October straight away, then that war with Israel entering 2 weeks, the war would have ended. Thank you, Asima.
Yes, thank you very much, Mark Sutherland, for always joining us and sharing your insight throughout our news on this topic and others. Thank you very much. Now we move on to Pakistan. In Pakistan,